Hello there, it's Jan from JB Crafts. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you're all having a good day. Today I have another concept design to show you. So yeah, I was working away and I came across an old card that I'd made that had this particular fold on it, and I thought, right, I want one of these on the channel. So it's a really simple idea. It's almost like two cards in one, and it's called a joy fold card. So this is actually a 6x6 shop bought card. And on the front of it, it has another little card that's almost, well, it's been turned the opposite way. So it actually opens up here and you've got a separate element to hide that sentiment inside. So this side closes like a normal card, and then this one's just been reversed to have the fold on the right hand side there. You can make these any size. You can make them rectangular. They don't have to be square. The principle's the same here with the concept. And I'm going to show you how I've popped this one together using some of my older supplies. I've actually got paper from one of my original paper pads that isn't a Crafter's Companion paper pad, and then this is actually a stamp from I'll show you the product in a second. This is from an illustrator called Lee Holland that we had developed when I was working with Crafter's Companion. So I'll show you all that. I'll show you all the product as we go through the actual makeup of the design. So like I said, really simple to do. 6x6. It will fit in a 6x6 envelope. I haven't done anything on the back because this time there's actually room inside here. There's lots of room. You know, you can actually write your sentiment inside. You could make this smaller and write it here. You could put a matte and layer on this one to pop a sentiment. Could pop a photo in here, a gift card. The gift card could be trapped inside. Lots and lots of different ways you could actually sort of alter this to suit your requirement. So let me show you how I've made it then. We'll pop that one over just to one side so that I've got that there to look at. So like I said, starting out with a shop bought 6x6 card. Now, usually it's worth just remembering this. Sometimes they are actually 6x6, and sometimes it's the envelope that's 6x6. So just check your measurements before you start so that you know where to go with all the mats and layers. And then what I've done is I've just cut a 3/4 of an inch strip off this side here, which is where we're going to tuck that second card. So if I show you the original one again, you can see when we open this up, this is actually slightly shorter than the card underneath, so that I can tuck this one around here. Okay, so 3/4 of an inch just down this side, and that's left me that base area to work with. So then what I've done is I chose my paper and my card. Have I still got the paper pad out, one asks? Let me have a little look. I don't know, I think I've actually put it away, which isn't very helpful, was it? But it is an old one, but any of your pattern papers will be fine. So I chose this particular pattern, which was really, it's a double-sided one, really pretty. And I had a look to see, I wanted something that was quite vibrant to go as the matte layer for it. So the first thing I did from the plain, this is a linen cardstock, from the solid, is I've cut a piece that is 5 3/4 inches square, and we're going to pop this one straight inside that back panel here. And I'm going to stick these ones in, some of these as I go along. So just using my all-purpose glue there, we're going to pop this one straight in the back. So this one's for the second little card to sit on, and you will see some of that pink as a border. So let's get that one stuck in. It's 1/4 of an inch smaller than my card blank, so it's just leaving a nice little border all the way around of the white cardstock there. And when I fold that closed, you've now got this element down this side. Then I wanted a matte and layer for the top of the card. So again, I've gone with that pink cardstock and the pattern paper. So the pink measures 5 3/4 inches tall, the same as the back one, but it's only 5 inches wide to accommodate that piece that we cut off the edge. So that one's going to go on there. And then my pattern paper is just matted accordingly at 5 1/2 by 4 3/4, again 1/4 of an inch smaller, and that one is going to sit on top. Okay, now I've just put myself a little note on here. I am going to use some magnets, and these are just the little tiny magnets that I buy online. They are really tiny, but they're very, if I show you the, you know, they stick together great. And the reason I've done that is when I did the first one, I actually didn't use any magnets, and this little feature here wasn't a part of the card. I'd just got the smaller card folding onto the front, and it wasn't sitting quite right. So I actually built in a system that had, you can hear that click with the magnet there to keep it closed. So I've had to disguise it under a little die cut circle here, and I had to make something to disguise it on the back. Now what I'm actually going to do this time is trap it underneath the layers so that it's not as obvious, and then you can decide, you know, how you want to do this if you want to recreate the card. So I've just made myself a little note that the magnet needs to go on here before I pop on that piece of paper. So we will continue with the glue on the matte layer and get that one stuck down, and then I'm going to come back to the patterned paper when I've had a chance to position those magnets. So this one's just going to sit on the top with the same border, just making sure that it's aligned here with the one that's underneath so that it all looks nice and neat. And I will leave those to dry for a second. So this one eventually will sit straight on the top, but like I said, I want to position that magnet first. So pop those to one side. And then I actually made my second little card, and this is actually one of the 6x6s that I've just sort of I've like sort of used it to chop up really. And again, this is 4.5 inches square, so this one's going to sit nicely in here and just leave a nice border all the way around that's equal. Now the first thing I need to remember to do with this one is turn it around. So normally the card's open like a book this way. I actually want to rotate this one. I need the fold on the right hand side so that we can slot this one underneath, and then it will open from here. And again, I've popped myself a little note that the magnet's going to go under this side, and then it will snap to on that closure here. Okay, so let's just keep that one for the time being. And then I've got a couple of matte layers for this one. So again, I've just come down that 1/4 inch. So the card was 4.5 inches, the matte layers are 4.25, and I've made one to go on the front. I turn it round, Jan. Okay, and I've got one that's going to go on the inside here. So again, we can get those ones stuck down. These are just flat matte layers. I haven't included any dimension at this point because we've got those two pieces folding together. I didn't want to create a lot of dimension on the inside of the card. So again, 1/4 inch smaller, you've got that same border all the way around, and then this one is going to go on that front panel. And then we're going to add a little sentiment to the piece inside. And then I've actually got my detail to go on this front section here. This is the bit that will be seen on the front of the card. So you will also need 2 pieces of your chosen cardstock. I've used a smooth white cardstock at 4x4 inches, so I've come down 1/4 inch again. And on the inside, making sure that you've got that fold here on the right hand side, we are going to pop our sentiment inside like so. And this one, all I've done is stamped on that inside. I've just stamped the Make-A-Wish and a few little stars because I chose some stars as my embellishments on the front just to keep it all together. So we can place that one. That one's nice and straightforward. And that's just going to sit on the inside. So you can see so far there's not a massive amount of technique. It is a lot of matting and layering. And then when we come to put these two pieces together and add the front panel is where we need to be careful with that concept. So that's the inside of my card done. And then my second piece is what's got my little picture on here, my image. And again, you can use anything that you want to for this. This is a really old set, as I say, that was designed for Crafter's Companion by a chap called Lee Holland, and they are gorgeous little cute characters here. So what I did was stamp out my dragon. You can see there, if I just pop you a little bit of white card behind it there. He's quite a decent size, and I just wanted him to peek through where I was going to have my frame. So all I've done is I cut the frame using some of my stitched nesting dies. I've just used a couple there, and just for reference, we are looking at, from edge to edge, the outside one is about 3 5/8 of an inch square, and the inside one is about 2 3/4 inches square, just as a rough measurement. But any that you've got, they don't have to be stitched, they can just be plain squares. And what I did is I've cut this out of some silver glitter card, just to add a little bit of a contrast to all the pink and the white, and the fact that I wanted to colour him in grey, it just linked it all together. Now I've cut this one 3 times. I cut one in silver and I've cut a couple in white, just so that it is quite a substantial piece. And what I want to do is sit this one over here and have him peeking out through the little frame. So to start off with then, for the actual stamping, I've done the frame. I've positioned it so that I'd got an equal border all the way around the edge, which is going to be visible. And then just took my pencil and just made a little mark in each of the corners so that I knew roughly where I wanted to stamp the little guy in the middle here. And I've stamped that in my alcohol proof dye ink, because I wanted to use my alcohol markers to colour it. Okay, and then what I did was use some sticky notes to just mask off part of the area, because what I didn't want to happen was the stamp, obviously the stamp is longer than the design here. If we put it on here, what I didn't want to happen was the bottom of the stamp poke out of the edge here. So it's actually cut off the stamp. You can see that line where it's cut off just by masking that bottom edge there, so that it didn't show when I put the frame on. So what I need to do now is just take away those little pencil marks with my eraser there. They were just a guideline to where to put the stamp. And then I will show you the colours that I used for my colouring in. Now, if any of you are interested in seeing the colouring aspect of it, let me know in the comments. I always tend to do this first because it can be quite a long process, but I could I thought about, popping them in as extra videos. If you're interested in seeing how I put these together and how I do the colouring, then just let me know in the comments, and something I can think about for future videos. So I had got just 3 colours on this. I didn't want to take it much further than that. So I've gone for the grey for the little dragon here. I'm fibbing there. I've got another colour missing. I must have used that for something else. Let me just have a look. I used my brown grey as well. So yeah, I've got 3 colours altogether. So these are ice grey. Different depths of them. I've got sort of different ones here. I've got the brush marker, which has got IG 2, 7 and 10 on, and this one's got 2, 4 and 5. So these work together really nicely to give you the blend for the dragon here. And then I just brought in a brown grey, again keeping those grey tones, and I've done a little bit of work on the centre of the flower, and I've added a little bit of that into elements of him to keep it, as I say, keep it together. And then to pick out the pink that we had in the design, I've got my pale pink, which again I've added elements in here, and the flower is all done with these 3 blends of pale pink. So it's just a 1, 2 and a 3 there on the tri blends. And then I wanted a little pop of colour just to match that really nice vivid pink on the matte layers. So I've got some glitter pens that I've had a little while, and that was a really nice bright pink, and I've just added a little bit in as extra. You can just see little elements of it, the little spots on his head and his back, the little spines down his back and his face, just to add that little element of the bright pink in there to link it to this background area here. So this one's going to sit nicely on the front here. But I think what we'll do is we'll put the mechanism together first. So what I want to do is get these positioned. So I've got my 2 cards, one with the fold on the normal side and one with the fold on the right hand side. I'm going to pop the pattern paper to one side for a second, and I want to get this one positioned inside here so that I've got around about the same border, and I'm just going to eyeball this, but I want the same here, here and here, and it will create the same automatically on the piece that we cut away. So I'm actually going to stick this one in, and what I'm going to do is pop some glue on the back because that's going to stick in the center of here. So I'm going to stay with that all-purpose glue, and I'm going to pop this all over the back of my small 4.5 inch piece here. But rather than guess where I want it to go on the back, which I could just pop it down and wriggle it into place, I'm actually going to hook it over the top here, and I want to get this lined up on the front to the best of my ability that it's even, and then pop it closed, pop this one closed, and because you've used that wet glue, you should have this spaced nice and evenly there. So you should have that gap all the way round that is about the same. And I'm just going to keep that still for a second until that glue's just had a chance to cure. So I've got my sentiment inside now. I've still got a note now that I need to address the magnets, which is going to be the next thing. And that folds over. This is essentially your joy fold. It's a smaller card folding the opposite way into a larger card that actually folds the normal way. Like I said, this could be a rectangle. It could be any shape really that you can manage to get this fold into, and it can be any size. So what I want to do now then is just address those two little magnets, and I'm going to use a bit of red line tape just to secure these in place. It's a nice strong tape. The magnets are quite strong themselves, but I do need to stick them down. So I've got a couple of pieces of red line tape here. I'm just going to pop one of those on here until I need it, and pop the other one on my tweezers. And I'm going to secure the one on the back of here first, and I want it to be roughly where I put the little circle there. So I'm going to place my red line tape, remove the liner there, and then it's been very friendly. I've got my magnets. So you want to make sure that they're actually together, because obviously anybody that knows about magnets, if they're the wrong way, you know, you won't get that stick. So make sure that they're right, and I always stick them together for this purpose. So make sure they're actually stuck together the right way, and I'm going to pop those inside, both stuck together so that I know where they are, and let those go inside here. Okay, so this is what I should have done had I planned this the first time round. All right, and then my second little piece of tape is going to go on the back of that other magnet because we've got them both stuck together. I'm going to put that one now there. I've got to be careful because the tweezers grab it there, yeah. And then see if I can get the liner off that one. There we go. And then what we're going to do is close the card to get that placement exactly where we want it. So we can now close this one over and give it a good press. Now it does create a little bit of dimension under here, but I'm not too worried about that. So give that a good press, and then they will separate, and you've got the one on each side in the correct place. So I'm not worried about this bit because I'm actually going to cover this up now. So the magnets are strong enough to take this layer over the top, which conceals it, but you've still got that lovely, I love the click closure. Anybody that makes memory books will understand what I mean by this, but I love that little click when you've got the magnets in play. So we can get this one stuck down now as well. So my piece that I got for my mat layer at the beginning that I showed you there earlier on, we can stick down, and again I'm going to use that all-purpose glue, and we're going to conceal that little magnet underneath, and that one will do its job from there. So just make sure that's nice and centered. And yeah, there's a little tiny bump under here, but it's not sufficient. They're only very, I think they're less than 1 millimetre, these magnets. They might be 1 millimetre, so it's not going to cause a problem with regards to the paper there. As I say, anybody that makes memory albums and memory books will be used to using this kind of thing. They're readily available on the internet. And then we've still got that lovely little click closure. Now then, if you want to address this side, I have got some a series of circle dies, which is what I used. The other bit was a little bit more complicated because, as I say, I put this fastener on afterwards. So I used the largest one to create a circle and cut it out of the pattern paper just so that it wasn't as obvious, to disguise the one that's under here. And I think I will probably use that one again. And then this one was a bit more complicated. I've got the same size on the back here, like so. And then I cut it again at the same size and cut the smaller one out of the middle, just so that I'd got a little bit of depth on here. So there's a couple of layers of card here with the one in between to encompass that millimetre of magnet inside. As I say, it got a little bit tricky. I got there in the end, and it does look like a feature of the card, but I do prefer it when it's all concealed inside. So all I'm going to do this time is, I think I've got some little scraps of white card somewhere over here, yeah. And all I'm going to do is use my Gemini Mini here and just cut a white circle, which I don't seem to have got cut, but we can soon pop one of those through here. And then I'm just going to stick that over the back to conceal. Oops, preferably keep it in place, Jan. Let's try it at that end. My plates are well loved. In fact, I've got some, I keep using the old one because I don't want to throw it away, but I've actually got some new ones that are a little bit flatter. So let's pop it through there, look. And then just cut out that circle, and then all I'm going to do is stick that over the back to conceal the magnet underneath. And again, even with the cardstock layers, the magnets are strong enough to deal with them being covered up. So again, just because that's a slightly smaller area, I am going to use, oh, my apologies if that's moving about a little bit. I'm going to use the acrylic glue there, just because it's got the fine applicator on here. And then we can just put this over the back here. Press it down. And that will just conceal it that little bit. You could put some decoration on there if you want. Like on this one, I'd actually popped the little star on it so that it came together with the rest of the embellishments. But again, you know, however you want to address that, just give that glue time to grab there. And then we've got our little closure, still strong enough to meet with the magnet. So we can actually work on the front of that card now, and we can bring back in our piece here. Now I know that all works. And I'm going to stick that one down with the all-purpose glue again. Like so. So that one's just going to nestle, and again, I've kept all the borders the same. If you watched any of my other videos, I quite often stagger the borders so that they're different widths. But because there were so many different layers to this one, I have kept them all at 1/4 of an inch difference in size, which gives me just the 1/8 of an inch borders all the way round. So that's that one, and then we've got our little frame here that's just going to sit over the top there. So again, I'm going to go to that acrylic glue just because it's got the fine applicator on here, and pop this on the back of the frame. And again, I cut 2 layers in white and then the one out of the silver glitter card here, just so that I'd got a bit more substance to the frame. And that one's just going to sit around the edge here with the same border all the way around the edge. And give that a press as well. And then it's just left to decorate. So you can see we've got our small card, we've got our opening, we've got our sentiment. Now I did have little bits of scrap paper left, so I thought I would just pop a little bit on the inside as well. So this is just a strip that measures 5 3/4 inches by 1 inch. Again, you know, you can do as much. You could put another matten layer in here if you wanted to keep you know, if you wanted to write a specific message in here. Like I said, you could make a little envelope and put a gift card inside. Entirely up to you how you want to do it. But I'm just going to pop one of those pieces in there just to link it all together. because I got it left. Now you guys didn't see that, but that's just frightened the heebie-jeebies out of me. I'd got this little tiny bow that's a spare stuck to the side of my desk here, and it's just jumped off and fell down at the side of me. I thought it was a huge moth or something. So yeah, we'll leave that there for the time being so it doesn't do it again. It made me jump. So yeah, we've got our card good to go. Really, really simple design. You could put an extra message under here if you wished. You know, you could pop something maybe in a smaller square, or again, you know, you could have a gift card hidden under here so that when they open the first bit, you've got a gift card and then you've got the sentiment inside. So many different ways to do it. So as far as decoration's concerned, I made a little sentiment, which is going to go across the top there. And then I wanted some extra embellishments, but I didn't want to go too much. We've got floral on the paper and floral on the stamp. So I actually picked some stars, and I've just got a variety of different star dies here. These are from a nesting set, and I think this is from an old set that I keep out. I've got some magnets attached to the desk at the side of me that I keep all sorts of you know, the little tiny dies that tend to get lost. I've got them on the side there. So I've cut a large one and a medium one in pink, and I've got a couple of the small ones in the silver glitter card just to link it all together again, and that's what we're going to use as our embellishments there. So put those back in there. I'm going to stay with that fine tip glue applicator here, and what I want to do is use the big one at the bottom here. So I'm actually going to put the glue on here so that I know roughly where I want it to go. I want this to sit on here so I can afford to put glue in that corner there and then add this to the design. I'm going to make sure it hasn't gone over the edge of this bit here so that the other card will open properly. And then this one I'm going to do the same. So this one's going to go a wee bit higher up like so. So again, I can put a little bit of glue onto that glitter card, and I'm using the wet glue because that will soak into that coated glitter card and give me a good bond with the embellishment. And then just to break up the pink slightly, I'm going to put one of those little tiny silver ones, and I'm just going to pop that one just in there to break it all up. And then I just felt it needed a bit of something, so in here I'm going to pop this one and let it stick at the top there. So I just want some glue across this top section here. Lacey's just come to say hello, if you can hear those little pitter-pattering feet on the floor there. And then this one's going to go out towards the edge of the pink and partly stuck to the silver frame. I didn't want to cover up too much of the design. And then that tiny little star that's left, I'm just going to use in the gap to bring it all together. So again, we've just got that one left there, and I'm just going to pop that one in here to bring it together with what we've got at the side. Okay, so we pop the lids on those there. I'll bring you in the original one because, as always, those of you that know me and that have followed me for a while now know that there is just one thing missing from my finished design there, and that's my little gems. I love my gems. They go on every single project, and if I bring you this one back in, you can see here we've got virtually the same idea going on. I think I got my stamp slightly higher up on this one. He's a little bit lower down here, but again, you know, not too worried about that. And then I've just added a couple of silver gems on the frame there, and then I've just got 3 pink ones inside the frame. So still got the odd number there. We've got 3, 5, 7 gems. It just finishes it off in my world. You don't have to add them, you know, if it's not your thing, don't think it's necessary. It is just an extra embellishment. But as I say, those of you that have been following me for a while will know that nothing in my world is ever finished without adding the gems on there. So this is how I intended it, with that lovely little snap closure inside. And as I say, when I designed the first one, I wasn't realizing that it would need that closure, but it just didn't quite sit right for me when this smaller card folded over the top of the bigger one. So yeah, I actually had to construct this one with the magnet afterwards, which is why you can see the detail. And again, you know, either way, it's easy enough to do. All I did with this one, I mean, you could still get away with trapping the original magnet, the base one, underneath here. And if you want to make this little element out of the circles, as I say, it was just the little circle dies that I've used to make some cardstock and trap the magnet in the middle. That then would stick a little bit further out and it would still snap close onto the base. So whichever you prefer, it would work both ways. And you've got your Joyfold card there, just as an example of how that all comes together. Okay, I think I must have had another little one left here because I've got another little star inside here that was left over that I die cut for the front and didn't use. So all the stars inside just to link it together. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Let me know which way you prefer that closure. Do you like the hidden closure, or do you like the addition of the extra little, you know, the little finger pull sort of finger tab there to open it with? Like I said, lots of spaces. You could pop your message in here. You could pop your message in here. If you wanted to fill those spaces with mats and layers, you can always do a mat and layer, which you can put on the back, which sometimes I do with my cards. If they're nice, you know, if the front is very detailed, I sometimes do an extra mat and layer for the back of the card, and then that will fit in your just over 6x6 inch envelope there. So I hope you've enjoyed that one today. It was good fun to make. It's a really nice fold to do. It's just a little bit different. So yeah, consider giving it me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Thank you for all the recent subscribers. The channel seems to have just sort of took off again at the minute, which I am not complaining about. We've hit our 2,000 followers now, which I am thrilled about, and it's now gone over that level quite quickly. So yeah, I have put on my Facebook page at JB Crafts a thank you message, which I know some of you have seen. But just to say it again out loud, I do appreciate each and every one of those subscriptions. It does make my day to think that I can reach so many people with what I love doing and being able to still share this with you, even though I'm not working in the industry any longer. So one lady actually commented saying that she enjoyed it more because there were less interruptions. So yeah, you've just got me on the channel here. So yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Get that little notification bell ticked and it'll let you know next time I upload. I tend to upload, if you're just coming across me now, I tend to upload Tuesdays and Saturdays at the moment. Occasionally there's an odd one popped in there if there's another event or if I've got a bit of extra time. So yeah, enjoy the rest of your day and I'll be back very, very soon with another tutorial. Oh, excuse me, just to finish off there. Bye-bye for now.